My guess is we don't make it out of cycle 35. Welcome back to Echo Ridge, where we're still trying to make the 75 dupe challenge work. Right now, it's cycle 22. We have about 35 tons worth of dirt and 0 purified water. Well, at least that's what the resource meter says. But clearly there's a little bit of water down here, so I don't know what it's getting on about, but they're gonna be okay. We're also doing a decent job of trying to turn all of this polluted water into regular water. That way they can still use it for all their mush bar needs. Speaking of which, we're up at around 100,000 calories. I mean, is that considered a surplus? To start with today though, we're going to be trying to venture out into this area here. We could really use the sand. We're down to about 333 kilos worth. And if we don't get any more sand, we're not going to be able to run the water sieve, save for breaking out the old rock crusher. Additionally, I'd like to tear through all of this area here as well. Putting one massive tank would allow us to set up a couple water sieves here and really start filling our tanks. It'd be great if we could start growing some spindly grubfruit plants, along with maybe trying to ranch some sweetles. At this point, any little bit is better than nothing, because I don't know how much longer the dirt and the mud are going to last. One idea I've had that I'm still kind of tossing around is if we could melt this entire biome, that would be a lot of clean water. So I'm thinking about going in there and just laying in a bunch of composts that'll have the two-prong effect of giving us dirt from the polluted dirt and also generating a whole bunch of heat. The problem is, despite having 75 dupes, we don't have a lot of dupe labor. So I think to start off with, we're going to hit the enable proximity. That way the dupes will sort of look around the area to make sure there's nothing else to be done there before they scurry away. Another idea would be to switch over to coal power. That would save all the dupes from having to run on wheels. Unfortunately, we have 0 coal. The materials overlay reveals that there is some here in the colony, but it's nothing majorly sustainable. Of course, we're not really looking for sustainability. We're looking to make 75 dupes last for 75 cycles. Remember, that's still the goal. And it's important to have goals. Oh, look at all this delicious dirt sitting up here. It's even surrounded by oxalite and water. It's like a trifecta. One good thing about bulldozing through this uranium ore is we've actually unlocked a little bit of lead, and there's still more in here. The great thing about the lead is we could use it and create a smart battery or two. Maybe we will go down there and give that coal a chance. Meanwhile, here it is, halfway through cycle 25, and we're down to 16 tons of dirt again. So I think we're going to go ahead and execute our compost plan. I'm not excited about adding the additional compost labor, but we need to get dirt from somewhere. Additionally, we're going to be adding another couple of sludge presses because, you know, the dupes have nothing else they could be doing. And while the mud is doing great in terms of water, we're still sludge pressing because of the dirt. Desperate times and desperate measures, folks. We're down to about 1.5 tons worth of dirt. So we're going to add a lot more compost. Additionally, the chill is starting to get ridiculous and starting to creep in towards our beautiful bog buckets. We're also going to go ahead and dig up the emergency swamp chard because at a minimum, it might give us another cycle before we lose the wonderful challenge. Speaking of swamp chard, down more towards the bottom of the map, there's a lot of it. The problem is getting to it. Once again, our dupe labor issues would be the problem. We'd have to dig all the way down here and then start gutting through this. Meanwhile, we're down to about 11.5 tons of mud. And as soon as we start getting low, we're going to change all these sludge presses over to polluted mud. Unfortunately, remember, the polluted mud only gives us out polluted dirt. So once again, this might be the beginning of the end. On the somewhat good news front, we've put in a bunch of clay farm tiles and have started getting some of the grubfruit seeds. We've also put them right next to these sweetles, so that way they can get sweetle tended and hopefully grow a little bit faster. The issue is we only have 235 kilos worth of sulfur. There's some around here, but it's not a lot. Oh yeah, we're almost toast. We're down to 0 kilos worth of dirt. We did just get a nice little bog bucket harvest, but that is not going to last very long. Especially considering the cooks have yet to cook all the bog jellies. For those of you curious, you remember last episode, I told you we'd need over 90 composts. Well, this is only 30, which, you know, is not going to cut it. Well, now we've officially run out of mud as well. Yeah, there's some little bits here and there, but it's definitely not enough. And I am racking my brain seeing what else we could do. The only seeds that we have that are capable of growing into plants that we eat are bog buckets and grubfruit. which is yet another disadvantage because it takes duplicate labor. For instance, we have plenty of polluted water, but these bog buckets still don't have the irrigation they need in order to grow. These are doing just fine. Why? Because they're closer to the center of the base, so the duplicates are more likely to do these first, as opposed to the ones that are further away. That's how tight we are on labor. Look at this. There's some frost buns up here. Somebody quick, get the sleet wheat! Here's how bad the situation has gotten. We don't even have enough dirt for the outhouses. This one's probably on me. We could have gotten into some regular bathrooms, but, you know, once again, it's all a matter of racking and stacking what's important to you. Feeding the dupes, or advancing up the research tree and building awesome little systems. Well, here it is. We're down to 0 calories. There are duplicates picking up this sleet wheat, and occasionally we get a frost bun made. We even have duplicates digging their little hearts out, trying to get to this swamp chard. But I don't know if they're gonna make it. My guess is we don't make it out of cycle 35. And it's a shame too. We had so many plans. See this little guy? This little guy was gonna be our future. We're trying to get fish release, fish feeders, and incubators all going, but sadly the duplicates don't have enough time to do research. We don't even have enough time to pick up the pea on the floor. It does make me wonder, which dupe's gonna be the first one to go? Who's gonna win the magical dupe lottery? Last one out of the colony's a rotten egg. In an attempt to prolong the inevitable, we're also gonna be trying to kill all the Sweetles, which stinks because they would make the grub fruit plants grow faster. As a reminder, Sweetle tending gives you a plus 5% growth speed to the plant. But they give a duplicate a minus 100% to starvation. And right now, that's more important. Look at this. More swamp chard hearts and some pacu fillet. I think we can get down here. Even by making an emergency, I don't know how much it's going to help. It's a little far down here, and I'm not sure if the duplicates are going to be able to make it all the way down here without suffocating. Looks like the Queen, Lindsay G, Fat B-Man, and Nazgul have decided otherwise. Makes me wonder which dupes are actually going to get to eat the food that they risked their lives for. I can't believe it, but we're halfway through cycle 35. There's no way we're making it through cycle 36, though. We haven't had a renewable source of food in quite some time. On the cusp of cycle 37, we have a lone bog bucket ready to produce its bog jelly. We also have a wild sleet wheat plant ready for harvest. They only harvest once every 72 cycles. So how fortunate for us. Not that it's going to matter much. We're up to 17 starvation messages, and we're down to 0 calories. So it's any minute now. And I know that sounds like I'm not very hopeful, but you have to realize, this challenge is a pain in the tuchus. Well, it finally happened. 3/4 of the way through cycle 37. And Eilart was the big winner. Congratulations, Eilart. You made it back to the printing pod first. And in a close second, Kudwadi, who was obviously very eager to get to that bog jelly. And finally, with the bronze medal, is Patrick Gordon. 37, almost 38 cycles. Not too shabby in my book. We knew from the beginning that we weren't going to be able to make it all the way to cycle 75. I am curious if I would have been able to prioritize some longer-term solutions in the beginning if that would have bore any fruit 35, 40 cycles later. I say all that, but then I remember, it's very difficult from the very first cycle just to keep all the dupes fed and breathing. Now, you don't have a lot of time for much anything else. Otherwise, I had a good time with this challenge. I'm looking forward to hearing what your recommendations are, or if any of you are going to take up this challenge. If you do, let us know in the comments below. So until next time, happy gaming, and I'll talk to you soon.